So residually, I make 15,000 a month.
Wow.
Off of network marketing alone. So that's social media, like marketing, sales, all of that.
Sure.
Actually, no, backtrack. Okay, I make 15,000 a month residually. Okay, but I am also the top sales person in the company. Top sales rep. I don't know. So sometimes my weekly commission is more than my monthly residual.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
crazy. Yeah, it's
That's
really
insane.
crazy.
What's up, guys? Jay here again. Super quick introduction here. We've got the absolute boss of bosses, Cristina. She's on the episode, a full hour of content, her sharing her insights on how to be a top trader, top network marketer. She did that within 2 years. She went from homeless to making over 15K a month. So definitely an episode that you got to listen to. Like and subscribe, show love to the channel, and hope you guys enjoy it. Cheers. Well, Cristina, it's good to have you. Thank you for joining us. I think we've had a lot of male guests on recently, so it's good to have an exceptional female on. So thanks for
100%.
thanks for being
Been
here.
an exciting podcast.
Yeah, really excited. So I guess maybe talk to us a little bit about what it is that you do. A bit about just where you come from, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we kickstart there?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so my name is Cristina Becher. I have been in the trading and network marketing industry for 2 years now. Currently, I'm in the UK, obviously, but originally I am from Nebraska in the US.
I would never have told by that accent.
Right?
Cool. And so I think because we had someone on that was in the network marketing game before, and I think hopefully a lot of viewers would have learned stuff from that conversation. One thing that I find quite interesting is speaking to people that are in that sort of top 1% in inverted, quotations bracket. Talk to us a little bit about what it is that network marketing is and what you're doing, and it'll be interested to understand that.
Awesome. So network marketing is literally in the name. It is marketing through a network of people, right? And I think a lot of people, when they hear about network marketing or they come into the network marketing space, they think it's just sales. Like it's just sales, like you're just selling, But that's not it at all if you are doing it correctly, right? One of the things that I have learned recently is it's something that we call tap rooting. And it's basically where you are tapping through the people that come into your business, right? So like obviously I have my personal network of people, and through them they have their personal network of people, and through those people they have their personal network of people. So you can reach an insane amount of people just tapping through the people that know people that know people that know people, right? And the reason that I thoroughly love the network marketing industry over just like some sales job or just
I'm in sales, don't you?
Hey, no hate.
It's such disgust there.
I know.
So I don't want to interrupt your flow, go.
No, but it's because of, the residual income that comes with it. I think I haven't studied like just sales in depth, but I think a lot of times what happens in sales is you just have a commission, and it's basically just like another linear income. I don't know if there's another word to specifically describe like a sales income, but once you stop selling, once you stop working, once you stop showing up, your income does as well. And so to have an industry where you can continue to just, live your life, do this, do that, and you continue to get a paycheck based off of work that you have previously done, that is so powerful, so powerful. And I think so many people, I don't know if they don't understand it. They don't know that it exists. Like, I don't understand, but if you heard that, like all of the work that you have previously done, you're still going to get paid for that. Why would you not choose
to do it?
Network marketing?
And it's interesting because I feel like what you just said is so true. A lot of people are in situations where they want more money, they want more of this, they want more of that, live a better lifestyle. But there's also at the same time a negative connotation towards network marketing. Why do you think that exists?
I think when it comes to network marketing, the number one thing that we hear is like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, right? And a pyramid scheme is when you have a person, like the people above you cannot be passed, and there's no product. You're not giving any type of value. You're not giving any type of resources. There's nothing there. At the end of the day, especially in the industry that I'm in, because obviously it's divided between network marketing and trading, and the company that I'm in, there is a lot of value given. There's softwares given. People can make money as just being a customer. I make money off of the products myself. And so I think it's just a lack of understanding and yeah.
And how'd you get into it? Because is it, through like an introduction from somewhere? What effectively made you sort of stumble into network marketing? How did you learn the tricks of the trade?
So it was actually through TikTok.
Everything's through TikTok.
But like I said, I've been in this industry for 2 years. And basically, at the time that I was brought into the industry, I was working as a server. I was just living in an apartment with a roommate. And I was so sick of just waking up and doing the same thing every single day. Like, I was basically perma-high for like 3 years of my life. I would just wake up and smoke and just go to work, do the thing, like whatever, come home, just like really getting depressed, not enjoying life, not enjoying my experience on Earth. And I started scrolling on TikTok, and I was like, there's so many people making money online. And at this point, I didn't know I wanted to do specifically network marketing or specifically be in the trading space. But I was like, all these people are leveraging social media. Like, they're making so much money. They're traveling the world. They have all these freedoms. Like, I'm not dumb. Like, if they're doing it, I will figure it out. So I just got on TikTok, and I was like, online income, trading, marketing. Like, I just, as I started to search, I started to dive into this industry and that industry and whatever it was. And I found this woman, and I watched all of her videos. I went to her Instagram. I watched all of her highlights. I went through all of her feed. And the reason that I actually got started specifically with this woman is because she had a photo of her holding a snowboard. And I snowboard, so I was like, oh, this girl, like, this woman's so badass. Like, oh, we're going to connect. We're going to go snowboarding together. Like, we're going to have that type of freedom.
Yeah.
Sick.
And that's the reason that I signed up with her. And in the first company that I signed up with, it was basically like around $3,000 to start. And I like threw it at her. Like, I was like, I want this type of freedom. Like, I will do anything that it takes. Yeah. So that's how I was kind of brought into the industry, is literally through TikTok.
And how important is mentorship in particular when you start? Because I think with a lot of people, they're concerned because they don't know how to start. And a lot of successful people that like yourself that I've seen do it well, they've had someone that's kind of guided them somewhat throughout the process. How important would you say that sort of mentorship is?
Mentorship is basically what's the word?
Or guidance, but whatever word we want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously having somebody that has what you want, give you the blueprint on how they got there. It's basically a fast track to get you where they are. You know what I mean? And I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to drop their ego and be like, I don't know everything. If I knew everything, if I knew what I needed to be where you are, like, you would be there already. For the longest time, honestly, I didn't have like mentorship from the people that were supposed to be mentoring me in this industry. And so I started looking at other leaders in the industry, like Jesse B, RIP, Daniel G, like all these people that have really big names, have created really big brands for themselves. And I just started really studying them. And I think that a lot of times when we talk about mentorship, you think that you need somebody there to basically like hold your hand through the process. And that's not true at all. There's so many people online that you can find mentorship within. And the way that this changed me is when I realized that, Cristina, like, you don't know everything. Like, you don't know the best processes. You don't know this, that, and the other, you know? Like, you really need to drop your ego and be like, okay, how can I confide in this person? And it happened to be when I switched companies about a year ago. There were people in this company who really cared to see me succeed, that saw something in me, that gave their time and energy and efforts to hop on calls with me to make sure that I was okay. And because of that, like, I am where I am today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was going to ask this question earlier. It's quite interesting because a lot of people are in that predicament where they're looking for something different. They're looking for something new. And we see all these successful people online and so on and so forth. How did you specifically choose network marketing out of all the other industries that are out there? Why network marketing?
So I chose trading first.
Oh, okay.
I chose trading first, and I was so against network marketing. Like, I was the person that was like, this is a pyramid. Like, these people, they're scamming me. No, like, really, like, I was that person that would, like, tell everybody. I was like, this is a scam. Like, I don't know, you know, like, whatever.
Of course.
And obviously, once you start that, like, everybody just starts feeding into it, and you're just, like, bumping off each other. So I actually started in the trading industry first, and then once I started to see an income in the trading industry, I was like, okay, no, like, I can actually help so many people. And because of my story, I was like, no, like, this is what I actually want to do, you know? And so that's when I started marketing. I started using my social media. I think when I first started using my social media, I didn't have a TikTok. I was so against TikTok. I was like, this is such a waste of time, like, da-da-da, whatever. And
was it back when it was called Musical.ly, or was it just when it turned
No. Like, when TikTok first came out and it was, like, dancing. Like,
oh, yes.
I was like, all these people are getting famous off of these dances. Like, no, you know? So I really didn't use my TikTok. I had about 300 followers on Instagram, but it was all, like, landscape. Like, none of the pictures were of me. Like, I really had no confidence, all this stuff. And then I just started posting about it. Like, I was like, these are my results. Like, you know, started talking about mindset, all of this stuff. And then people, like, kind of started coming to me, but they really weren't sure, like, you know. In the first year of my entire network marketing career, I made about $800. And
Wow.
that's it.
Yeah.
So most of it at the beginning, it really was coming through trading.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I saw an interesting. I think it was on your TikTok or Instagram page. I'm sorry, bio, where it was like you wanted to help create millionaires. I think I'm just paraphrasing on that. But why is that important to you? Because with a lot of people, when it comes to finance and success, it's kind of, I want to make money for myself, for my family, for example. Whereas you're quite prescriptive in the sense that of wanting to make other people, you know, successful and rich. I'm just interested to understand why that's, you know, in your mindset, why that's a focus.
Yeah, so I've actually never talked about this before.
Oh,
because I'm so
killer question.
You guys get
Killer question now. Still. Have a sip of my
So I actually grew up with a really well-off family, like very well-off. We grew up in a very nice home. We got to travel, and I think that is actually a big reason why I'm successful today. I don't know if it's because of the way my parents raised me. My mindset was different. I don't know. But I am very grateful that I ended up being homeless for 2 years, not having support from them, really getting to build this industry from scratch, because nobody can come to me and tell me, oh, you got that from your parents. Oh, your parents did that for you. Oh, you're not self-made, like whatever it is, you know? So the reason that I really genuinely have a passion for seeing other people succeed is because when I hit rock bottom, nobody cared to see me win. And I think that there's a lot of people out there, and sometimes it sucks because it happens to be the people closest to you that they don't care to see you succeed either. And in fact, when they start seeing you succeed, it's almost like they start talking trash, like, oh, like, who do you think you are? Oh, you have this type of confidence. Where's that coming from? Like, all this type of stuff. So when you have somebody who genuinely stands in your corner and genuinely wants to watch you win, and especially people that have never gotten to experience the types of things that I got to experience as a kid because of the family that I was born into, it's really a beautiful thing. Like, getting to watch the team travel, getting to watch the team go out to dinners, getting to watch the team, you know, like, have shisha and be like, oh, like, this is so bougie. Like, it really is such a beautiful experience to just watch people, like, get to expand and really experience like the life that they want.
Yeah.
There's so much we can unpack in terms of what you just mentioned, but I kind of want to take it back a little bit because you said something quite interesting. So you grew up in a very wealthy family, and then you unfortunately became homeless. Could you unpack that a little bit more? What was that process like? And yeah, I'm just quite interested in kind of hearing about that story.
Cool. All right. So
If that's all right.
yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
So when I was like around 13, my parents got divorced. And it's interesting, like when people get divorced, like obviously it's always a bit of like a traumatic experience for everyone involved. But I think especially when a family that has money on both sides, when the parents split, it's like, you owe me this, you owe me that, I want this property, like this, that, and the other, and they're just going back and forth, you know? And to be a child, because a 13-year-old, that's a child. Like, I've always been mature for my age, but I was still a kid, and my siblings as well. Like, being stuck in the middle of that was very traumatic for everybody involved. So my parents got divorced, and then I just started really like removing myself. Like I was like, you can't tell me what to do. Like I'm going to do this. I'm going to create this life for myself. And I started dating this drug dealer basically that was a bit older than me. He wasn't allowed on school property at around the age of 15. And I was just running away every night. Like my mom would call the cops. I went to live with him in an RV for a little bit. Like I don't know what I was doing. I was 15. Like now when I think about it, I'm like, girl, what? But back then I was like, I knew what I was on, you know?
I know what I'm doing. I got this.
So obviously that really tore the relationship with me and my mom. At that time, I didn't live with my dad. I didn't even talk to my dad. There was a lot of abuse and stuff that had happened in the home. And so obviously with all of this stuff happening, my mom was like, I need to do something. And as a mom, like I get why she did what she did now. And I'm super grateful that she did it. But in the moment, I was like, woman, are you mad? Like, are you mad? So basically I came home one night and she's like, I'm going to sleep with you on the couch because she didn't want me to run away, you know? So we fall asleep together on the couch. And basically I'm woken up in the middle of the night. These two people are standing over me and they're like, hey, like you're coming with us. You're not taking anything. Like it was like 3:30 in the morning, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And my mom is like halfway up the stairs. Like all I see is her like basically walking away. And she's like, you know, I love you. Like these people are going to take you, like whatever. And she just like disappears. And I'm like,
what's going on?
What? It's 3:30 in the morning, man. Like, come on.
What is going on? Yeah.
So basically they like lock me in the back of this Jeep. We drive to the airport and they take me to Utah, Kanab, Utah. And they take me to this wilderness rehabilitation center.
Wow.
We call this getting gooned. Like in rehab, we call this getting gooned. But it's basically like your parents paid to have you legally kidnapped. Like that is what it is.
Wow.
So they dropped.
I've only seen that in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, no, it's real.
I've seen that in the movies. Like, even when you described your mum being on like the staircase, I've seen that in the movies.
Yeah, she's like, and bye. Like, live your best life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's mad. So they basically dropped me like at this building, and I was met with this other lady who I actually still talk to today. Like we actually became really good friends throughout this process. But she works like at this place, and like I stripped down, took my piercings out, and basically they give you a backpack with like a pot, 2 water bottles, some clothes, underwear from like the kids aisle, like just the basic necessities. We got in a car and we drove for like an hour and a half to like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I get out of the car and I'm like, there's no way they're about to leave me in the middle of the desert. Like, are you mad? Like by myself? Like, do you want me to die? Like, what is happening? I was like, I ran away, but like, this is not cool, you know? This is different. So we get out of the car and literally, like, do you know how they suey, like for pigs? Like they're like, suey? You know?
Yeah.
So she sueyed. And I was like, what is happening? This girl comes running out of the middle of nowhere. Dirty, like so dirty. Like she just like rolled around in the mud. And they're like, grab your backpack. Like you're going to be staying with these girls.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay. So I like, because what am I going to do? Like run?
Yeah.
Like, come on. So I grab my backpack and I just start walking. And I was there for 3 months.
What?
I didn't have a phone. There was no bathroom. Like we literally hiked every day except the weekends. We hiked from water to water. And I got to send one letter to my mom and receive one letter from my mom every week.
Jesus Christ.
That's it.
That is a story and a half.
Interesting.
I don't even remember the original question, but
No, I think that story was far more interesting.
So interesting, yeah.
So what was the kind of like, you know, mentality shift then, going from that to, and you don't have to go into, you know, personal details, but so, you know, you go through that experience and presume you come back, you know, you're not with your mum, for example. What was that mental shift that actually I want to be successful, I need to kind of get my shit together and just kind of crack on?
So after I came back from Vegas, I actually had like a really bad relationship with my mom because she she was just treating me the same as before I left, you know? So I went to go live with my dad, who again, like I hadn't talked to, you know? So it was very like rough for me. I'm just trying to figure it out, whatever. And so one night he was drinking. I already had a concussion. He slammed on the brakes. We were on the highway. He slammed on the brakes and I hit my head on the dashboard. And I was like, you know, I'm done. Like I'm done. Do you guys know what I have been through? Like, do you know what you have put me through? And like, don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful for my parents, like what they've done for me. But I'm also like, are you guys not understanding? Like, I'm your child. You're supposed to be protecting me. And like, you are continuing to choose. Like, you're literally choosing to put me through this. So I got out and I just like took off running. And I basically went home that night and this is literally the night that I became homeless. I went home that night and I packed a little tiny suitcase. I don't even know what was in there because, you know, whatever. And I just got in my car and that's when I moved into my car. But really, to answer your question, the turning point for me was when my mom, and I don't remember at what point this was. I believe it was when I came back from rehab. I had already been with my dad for a while and I went to meet up with my mom. And she was like, you know, at some point I was scared that I was going to wake up and the cops were going to be like, we found your daughter in a ditch. Because of the drugs I was doing, because of the people that I was choosing to hang out with. And I was like, not even for my mom's sake, like I didn't want to be like, I'm going to prove to you that like you had a good daughter and like da-da-da-da-da. But I just, like I was like, what am I actually doing with my life? Like that is really what flipped a switch for me. And like that day I was like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I don't care if it takes 30 years. I don't care if it takes 20 years. I don't care if I do it tomorrow. Like, I'm going to figure it out. And then from there, obviously, like it was a couple years. Yeah. And then I figured it out.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, what's quite interesting and you know, just from how you articulate yourself and what really drives you, because I often find, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, but people of a certain age don't necessarily have their shit figured out. You know, I'm 30 now and I'm still figuring out my own shit. And you seem very well put together, you know, very focused, you know where you're going. What kind of drives you, kind of gets you up in the morning and, you know, gives you that kind of get up and go sort of attitude?
I think it's very cliche, but it's just the fact that success loves speed. Like if I can do 5 times the amount of work in 10 times the amount of times that it takes you, I win, you know? And it's not about like, I win, like I'm going to make the most money. It's like my organization wins. I show up the most. Like my people are going to learn this, that, and the other faster than your people will. Like it's just a matter of fact. So I think waking up every day and being like, okay, you're going to post 3 TikToks because that's the blueprint that I used, but I'm going to post 7 because
love that.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And I think truly when you really see what is capable, like what you are capable as an individual, what you are capable of as an individual, especially in this industry, you will take off running. Yeah. Like, why are you jogging? Yeah. I'm not, no comprehendo. Like, I don't get it, you know?
Yeah.
So just a follow-up question, and it's usually very rude to ask this question in the UK, right? How much are you actually earning?
Okay.
And there's a follow-up question with that.
Do you want to ask it now or after?
After.
Okay. So residually, I make $15,000 a month.
Wow.
Off of network marketing alone. So that's social media, like marketing, sales, all of that.
Sure.
Actually, no, backtrack. Okay, I make $15,000 a month residually. Okay, but I am also the top sales person in the company. Top sales rep. I don't know. So sometimes my weekly commission is more than my monthly residual.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah,
That's
it's really
insane.
crazy.
So, and this is so interesting to unpack because you've just told this incredible story, and thank you so much for being so vulnerable. We really appreciate it. You've told this story of you kind of being in such a low point in your life to now you're probably the 0.001%
Yeah.
of earners both in the UK and in America, right? You're doing amazing for yourself. I feel like there's this whole thing of being in a mental state where a lot of people are depressed. A lot of people don't, want to get up in the morning. They don't think they can achieve certain things. But you've shown, single-handedly that you can do that. So what's the mental process it takes to go from that state to now being the woman you are today?
I think a lot of it has to do with the work that you are willing to do for yourself. Like reading books. Environment is a very big one. If you are in a bad environment, like we've all heard, if you're hanging around 5 bums, you're going to be the 6th one.
100%.
If you're hanging around 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th one. And this is literally why I moved all the way across the world. I just up and left because I was like, I'm not interested in being in this environment anymore. I want to be around the people who have what I want. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because where do I have space to excel? A lot of it is affirmations. And when I say affirmations, I'm not just saying like, listen to I am affirmations on YouTube. Like, no, this is something that literally takes over your entire life. Like every second of every day, I'm like, I am so happy and grateful now that I make $250,000 a month by the age of 23. I'm so happy and grateful now that this person within my organization makes this much. I'm so happy and grateful now that I walk into every single room with confidence. I'm so happy and grateful now that I change the temperature in every single room that I walk into. Like, it is going on in my head all the time. To the point where, like, Cristina, your mental, like, relax, watch some Netflix or something, turn it off. But I think that is what it takes. Like, it takes you doing it to the point of insanity in order for you to reach this level in the first place, but be rock bottom and reach the level that I have as quickly as I have at the age that I have.
I've got an interesting question I want to ask. I've been dying to ask this question, actually. I was just waiting for the time to say it. So, and I'm going to frame this as best as I can. So, you've kind of got to this point where financially I'm successful. I have the things that I want. How has that affected relationships? And I mean, sort of romantic relationships, but also, friendly relationships. Do you find that it's, how has it affected it positively and negatively? I'd love to understand that.
Okay, so I think as a woman, as you continue to make more money in whatever industry that you're in, it's hard to find someone who can keep up.
Yeah.
And so I very seldomly do I talk about it. Like, I don't tell people how much I save. And the crazy thing is, on top of like what I'm making residually, on top of what I'm making in sales, I'm also very good at trading. So I make a lot of money in trading as well. And I'm just very, very low key about it. I don't care to buy all the name brand, this, that, and the other. Like, I really don't. I'm just very like, I just want to live my life, be happy, go on vacation,
Yeah.
But as far as relationships is concerned, I love the fact that network marketing, again, allows you to network with people. So it's people that, are in the industry with you as well, that understand what it is that you're doing, that understand the vision. So that has been interesting in itself. But to be fair, I haven't really exerted. I don't know. Like, I haven't really been in a relationship for a long time because at this point, as a female, when you know what you want and you're strong in your power and you make the type of money that I make, and a lot of people look up to you, like, your world of people kind of like, and the things that you will accept also gets a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So it has definitely affected, but I am very grateful because I used to put up with whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can throw me around, treat me like trash. Like, I do not care, But now I'm like,
Because and the reason why it's quite a bit of a loaded question, but the reason I ask is because a lot of very successful women that I know, struggle with the whole sort of romantic relationships because it is difficult to find someone that's in that same, financial sphere as you. Mm-hmm. And very often it can be quite overwhelming for, guys that might want to date you to hear those types of numbers. So it's just kind of interesting getting your perspective of whether that's helped or hindered a little bit your ability to, find connections and that sort of thing.
I think
Say it, whatever you're going to say it.
It's a safe space.
No, it's just like I'm also, it's hindered it for sure, but I'm also not to the age now where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to, build a legacy, like build a family. Yeah. Like I really haven't thought about it too much. Like there are certain people that I have met that I'm like, oh wow, like, like whatever, I'm happy that I got to meet you. I appreciate what you've brought to the table. I appreciate what I'm able to learn from you, whatever the case may be, but I'm not in a rush. No. Like I have a business to build, like 15K a month or like whatever my income is a month. Like to me, I'm just like, it's not enough. Like, it's not that it's not enough. Of course, I'm super grateful, but especially because I'm hanging out with people that make significantly more than me. Yeah. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, oh my gosh, Yeah. So, yeah, but I'm not in a rush. So I really haven't paused and thought about it too much. Like, if somebody steps up that I'm like, okay, I see something, you know what I mean? Then, of course, I'll insert myself. But other than that, I just... do my thing.
So it's interesting, right? And I read something a long time ago around Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where I think there's an estimate of how much you need to be making to almost not have to think about money a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think that amount was something around £70,000, which is crazy to you because I know.
Wait, is that a month or a month?
So 7,000 a year apparently, but obviously adjusted for inflation, it's probably a lot more than that. I'm probably thinking six figures, right? Where you start to not really think about money because all your basic needs are now taken care of, and anything else is almost like an addition to that. So with that being said, I say that to say this, right? Because I feel like you're at a stage where money is a factor in terms of finding a great partner, but I feel like I'm guessing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the traits are way more important than just simply the money, for example. Because now you're looking at something very deep, a lot deeper. Mm-hmm. And I think we live in an age where I feel like men do need to level up, right? And I say this to say this, in terms of what you're looking for now, what is, apart from the money, what other traits you see in a partner that makes you think, oh wow, this is a great candidate in a man?
Yeah. This is so interesting. I've actually never been asked this before.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are getting their notepads.
Yeah.
Where's my notepad?
This is so interesting because I think I've never thought oh, I'm gonna be with this man financially, because he brings something to the table financially. I always had myself, so why did I put up with the BS, to be honest, that I put up with so long, getting treated the way that I did? And some of that might just be unhealed traumas, from my past. But now when I don't, the thing is I'm not out, I'm not looking.
You're not looking.
You know what I mean? But if a man comes to me, he needs to know what he wants in a woman. He needs to know where he's going in life. He needs to have a vision. He needs to carry himself a type of way. He needs to be literate. He needs to take his health into account. He just needs to believe in giving back what he has been given, and obviously not to be I'd never date a man that doesn't have money, but it's getting to the point where it's I'm not here to pull you. You know what I
mean? One question I had, because you've obviously got this great brand on social media. You're present across so many different platforms. How have you found using those different platforms, to kind of promote your business, promote your brand? Is there almost a different approach for Instagram versus TikTok? Any sort of tips that you'd give people that are, looking to, try and really make the most out of social media, I guess.
Yeah. Now we're getting into the good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So TikTok is basically like, it's a prospect printer. Like, this is where you're going to find all of your people. And the thing is that big corporations like Pepsi, for example, Skims, like literally any big brand that you know, they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars marketing their brand, marketing their products, right? So when you have access to something like TikTok, where you can reach the same, if not more people for free, and you understand how powerful that actually is, you will give it your all. You will give it your all. So that is where we pull all of our clientele from, or that's where I pull all my clientele from. Then with Instagram is basically a business card. So this is where branding really comes into play, because with TikTok, it's more of like a we're on FaceTime type of vibe, you know? With Instagram, it's more of like, this is my brand. Like, the thing that happens with brand is you want people to either want something that you have, want to be like you, want to learn something from you, want a product that you have. Like, that's how it goes. I think a lot of people, they don't realize that people are buying you, people are not buying the product.
Yeah.
So with Instagram, like I said, it's like a business card. And the example that I give with this is like, if you're walking on the street and you run into somebody, right, and you're whatever talking about this, that, and they're like, yeah, let's keep in contact, and they pull a business card out of their pocket and it has coffee stains and it's ripped, immediately you just de-edified yourself, because that is so unprofessional.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to see when you're like in that type of situation. But on Instagram, people just don't realize it. They're just like, oh, like whoever joins my business, they'll join my business. They don't take it seriously. But what you don't understand is that is your brand. That is how people are perceiving you.
Yeah.
So you need to understand the perception of like how the outside world is perceiving you, because who you think you are is not who you are.
Yeah.
It's what they think you are.
Yeah. And when you think about, just a follow-up question to that, when you think about your audience and the people that you connect with and resonate with, is it a certain demographic? And the follow-up question to that is, was that intentional? So do you find that you connect with a certain type of person? And then was that always the plan, or not? I'd love to kind of hear it from your perspective.
Obviously, we hear the term like niche down a lot.
Yeah.
But I really think, like, when I think about like who have I actually niched down, I don't think I have specifically targeted a specific demographic. Like, I have people within my organization, whether it's the customer base or people doing network marketing, that are 50, 60 years old, that are black, white, red, yellow, blue, like it doesn't matter. People that have come from nothing, people that have come from everything, people who know how to manage their emotions, don't know how to manage, like it literally doesn't matter, people from all over the world. And when I first started, I was like, I really want to launch the US, but again, with TikTok, because the reach is so global, you do not really get to be like, oh, I only want it to reach the US.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that is how I ended up building like such a global team with such a huge demographic of people where it's not specified.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I get most often is, oh, what type of hashtags should I use? Like in my videos or on my posts or whatever. And especially on TikTok, because this industry can literally help anybody, because it does not matter where you came from. The second that you put a hashtag on a video, you are telling it who to target.
Yeah. Okay.
And you don't want that, because you want to be able to reach everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just looking at, because I think you're a master when it comes to branding yourself. Absolutely amazing, especially on TikTok. And I think you mentioned something about post 3 a day.
You're a master of flattery.
Sorry. It's a skill. So my question is, in terms of branding, right? Because I feel like when people first start out on TikTok, they get stuck in that 200 gel. And I think you've kind of mastered how to get, because I've seen a lot of your people in your organization have broken out of that a little bit. So in terms of branding yourself on TikTok, can you share maybe like a 5-minute, or less than that if you want, in terms of how to really brand yourself, just for someone who's a beginner to really, take off their kind of TikTok and start doing well, basically.
Yeah. So The cool thing about TikTok is you don't need to like wear any type of clothing. You don't need to be any type of like da-da-da. Like obviously on Instagram, especially more recently, I've been like the clothes that I wear, I'm very whatever. Like I started using the camera. Like I'm much more being very intentional about it. And my TikTok's also very intentional, but I built such a big brand off of me just wearing like, obviously you can't see my bottom half, but I was in like sweatpants and like a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or like, you know, and maybe I had my makeup like kind of done, but I never really like put on jewelry. I never really, you know, the reason that I excelled so much is because of the way that I carry myself, the way that I speak, the way that I present myself, and the structure at which I structure my videos, right? So I'll give you guys the sauce.
Some more tea.
But the way a lot of the girls came to me within the organization, because obviously a lot of people, like what I do works. So they just copy my scripts, right? And the problem with that is that you can duplicate my script, but you cannot duplicate my energy. You cannot duplicate my rhythm. You can't. You know, it's not something that is easily teachable, especially if you're trying to teach yourself how to do it. And so I told them, there is 5 things that you need to put in every single video, because sales really comes down to psychology, right? The first thing that you need to put in every single video is a hook. And it needs to be something controversial, something that makes people like squirm, something that makes people tick. Like recently we had the public boot camp, and I was making videos like, oh, Manara is a scam, you know, because people would rather listen to the negative than listen to a video where you're like, I'm going to teach you how to make money trading, like, you know. And now we have a whole like Manara is a scam thing trending. I was like, oops, maybe I should have thought about that a little more. Cool. Then after that, you need to tell your story. And the thing with this is you cannot tell your story in every single video, so you need to make it a catchphrase. For me, I say I went from homeless to 6 figures in under 2 years, because the second that I say that I was homeless, my audience relates to me, because they're like, she has been through something, I'm going through something, she understands, right? And right there, they're connected. The third thing is you need to give some type of value, because people, if you do not give people value for free, like, what are they going to get when they register, right? If you're giving people free value, first of all, that makes you a piece of value to them. But also then they're like, okay, well, if this is how much information she's giving out for free, what is going to happen when I actually register for the product, right? The third thing is you need to talk about the product, because that is how you make sales. Duh. And the fifth thing is a call to action. Because we live in a generation that has a lot of anxiety. And if you do not literally tell people how to contact you, they just won't do it. They just won't do it. So, and it's really important that you put all of these, because I used to do a training, I still do it actually, where obviously we talk about posting 3 times a day, right? One of them's product, one of them's personal, and one of them is value. I probably should have done that in reverse. But anyways, and the thing is that you want to put all 3 of them. Once you get good, you want to put all 3 of those things into every single video, because if you post a personal video, you're going to get a bunch of DMs of people being like, wow, your story is very inspirational, but you're not going to make any sales. If you post value, they're going to be like, wow, I appreciate this, that, and the other, but you're not going to make any sales. So there is a reason for all 3 of them, but you don't want a story video blowing up over a product video. So you have to put everything in every single one.
What would you say are some challenges around using like social media and positioning yourself on social media? And I'll be a little bit more prescriptive with that. Nana, I think you had a really good question that we spoke about before, where sometimes there's almost a bit of a negative connotation when you see, you know, if I can speak openly, pretty women on social media. People just sort of sometimes expect they're portrayed in a certain way, whereas, you know, you're very, I'm about my business, this is what we're focused on, this is what we stand for. Do you find that there are kind of challenges around, you know, being on social media, you know, being a woman on social media, and, you know, people just having preconceptions around, you know, pretty women on social media, to be honest?
Yeah, I do think it happens for sure. I don't pay attention to it as much, because like my reach is so big that I'm going to bring the people that I need, whether Billy has something to say about it or not. I don't care. But yeah, it definitely happens for sure. For myself, I think it happens more in real life than anything else. But I don't know. I don't really read my comments. I don't really engage. Like I just, at the end of the day, people think I'm like built in a factory. Like I am a human being. I have feelings. And I just would prefer to just not read the comments, not know what you have to say, because it still does hurt. Like even though I don't know you, it still does hurt because you're commenting on a video that I put time into, I put energy into. I'm trying to help people. Yeah. And you're just like taking a doo-doo on me for
no reason.
For what? Like you're fun? Great.
And do you find that you're not only just, you know, being a woman, but kind of your age might play effect into it? People won't know how old you are, but you know, because you are young, people are almost a little bit like, how can she tell me about X, Y, and Z when, you know, I'm much older, I should be much smarter. Do you find that's resistance from people sometimes?
I definitely do. But I think it was more before than it is now. I try to stay away from telling people how old I am because I think that people, it's not that they lose respect, but their ego comes out. Yeah. And they're like, why should I listen to you? Like how you were saying, you know? So I honestly, I'm very like intentional about refraining from telling people my age. Like I've definitely said it on social media. If you were really trying to find it, like you would find it. Yeah. But yeah, I just think that at the end of the day, it comes down to them. Yeah. Like I get it. You know, you've been working 30 years and you make $70,000 a year or six figures. Like that's so great for you. Awesome. But if that's not what you want and I have what you want, like drop your ego, you know, 100%. I had to do it. The person that's coming behind me is going to have to do it. I still have to do it to get to where I want to go. Yeah. It's just a part of the game. So
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting because I think this is a fantastic conversation because I feel like, yes, we mentioned, you know, things about your age and stuff like that, but I think you have such a great posture. You know, you know how to kind of handle yourself in a room, you know, even if people are older or no matter how much money they have. So how does one develop that posture? If let's say there's someone who's watching who's also young that needs to develop that kind of assertiveness and, you know, reassurance about themselves to reassure others, but they're competent. How do they develop that?
I think it has to do with the promises you make to yourself and showing up and actually putting in the work. Because it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm going to, you know, follow this diet. Oh, I'm going to do this meditation. Oh, I'm going to say these affirmations. But every single time you don't show up for yourself, you're letting yourself down, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. You know, and when you think about it from an external perspective, like, oh, like cheating, for example, right? If you're not in an open relationship and you're like, would you allow somebody, like, would you put up with that? And you would be like, no. But you're doing it to yourself. So you're holding somebody else to a higher standard than you're holding yourself. What is that? Yeah. That's actually mad when you deep it, you know? It's like hold yourself accountable to the things that you want or stop like fooling yourself. Yeah. And I think what really like flipped a switch as far as this is concerned is I used to be like more overweight. And at some point I just stopped bullying myself about it because like I knew I was overweight and I just wasn't doing anything about it. And I was just getting really depressed and like being so mean to myself. And I was like, you know what, Cristina, if you're not going to do anything about it, the least you could do is be kind to yourself. Yeah. And so at some point I just started being kind to myself. And it's not that I was okay with like being overweight, but it's like, if you're not going to do anything about it, why are you like double sabotaging? Yeah. That's ridiculous. So yeah. And then within that somewhere I found self-love. Started going to the gym, like, yeah.
So it's almost like, just so that I can, you know, give some actions for the audience. So it's almost like set yourself tasks and make sure you achieve them. And it's almost like the small wins will eventually build character. And then once you have that character, you can now come into the world and everyone can see that. Even if you don't say it, they can sense it from you. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Precisely.
Cool.
That's a very good way to put it.
What's next? What's the overall vision? You know, what does success look like? You know, could you break it down? You know, whether it's a financial metric or whether it's a standard of living. When would you kind of think, Christina, I've made it now. I'm done, but I've got to where I wanted to get to, I guess.
Yeah, I think obviously like with the crypto halving that's happening this year, like a lot of my, not a lot, but like a good chunk of my money has been invested into crypto. I do think that the real estate market is a good market to get into as well. Obviously, I don't just want to start throwing my money at things just because I have it to throw. Like that is just a very uneducated, unintelligent thing to do. So I think just finding people, again, like there's levels to the game. So finding people now at this stage who have what I want, who have gone through this stage, and confiding in them, asking them for advice, being open to their opinions in order to branch out. You know, because what happens is like, I'm not here to just make money and just travel the world and be like a rich girl for a couple months and then fall away. Like this is a generational wealth type of situation. I am here to leave a legacy, not only financially, but because of what I've been able to do for other people. And so with that, you have to be smart with your money. You know, you have to invest your money. You can't just like, oh, I made this and I'm going to spend it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very broke mindset to have.
Yeah.
So I think I probably honestly haven't thought about it as much as I should at this point, but I think I never expected to reach this point, especially as quickly as I did. So.
Yeah. And as we're coming to a close, I'm just thinking there's probably someone out there that's seen you that is thinking, man, I want to be like this woman, you know. One, how can they reach you? And two, what steps do they need to take? Or maybe free advice that they need to take to really develop themselves to be that person that they want to be?
Christina's top 3 tips.
Yeah, that's how we're closing it off.
I think the first one is, like, my top tip always is to keep the promises you make to yourself, like we just went over, because you come into this world alone, butt naked, and you will leave this world alone, butt naked. You take nothing with you. You take no one with you. So holding yourself accountable and loving who you are genuinely internally as a person is so important, and we don't talk about it enough. The next one, I think it's just open every door that presents itself to you. Be open-minded to every opportunity that comes your way. And it sounds so cliche, but I will tell you that I was never I don't think anybody ever like went to their mom and was like, when I grow up, I want to be a network marketer. Like, no. I promise you it doesn't happen. But really, and like I said before, I was the person that was like, oh, this is a scam, like da-da-da-da-da. But when I really just like understood and was open to actually listening to what people had to say, it changed my entire life. Like, I was homeless. And I think sometimes people look at me and they just like don't deep it. Like, I was homeless, you know? The third one is probably just be kind. Be kind to everyone. You never know what anybody else is going through. And what you put out into the universe comes back to you tenfold. I'm 100%. A very big believer in energy. Yeah. And so if you're putting out nasty energy, it will come back and it will bite you. So just be kind, put out good energy, live on a good frequency, vibrate high, walk into every room with that energy. You will meet amazing people. And those are my 3, which is so crazy because if you deep it, none of them have to do with like really finances, you know, none of them have to do with the surface level. It all has to do with what is going on internally within you.
Spiritual one, important. Yeah.
So as far as reaching me, you can reach me on my Instagram at It's Cristina Becher. It's ITSCRISTINABECHER. There's no H. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming. Super, really enjoyed that. And I think to Nana's point, thank you for being so authentic and raw. And yeah, that was my favourite podcast yet.
100%. Awesome.
I think I've said that on every video.
No, generally.
Hey, cut it out of the rest, okay?
Generally, I feel like this one was like literally like a a roller coaster. It's like we went from the highs to the lows. That was amazing.
I love
I
that.
appreciate it so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much.